For more on the tension between the two allies, let's bring in Dan Arbel, scholar in residence at the Center for Israeli Studies at American University in Washington, joining us now live. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Good evening.
One of the reasons we're so grateful to have you is that you were Deputy Chief of Mission at the embassy in Washington, the Israeli embassy in Washington. And I'm curious, with that in your background, whether it would ever have occurred to you to try to organize a Prime Minister's address to a joint meeting of Congress without telling the President, the Secretary of State, anyone in the Foreign Service, anyone in the executive branch.
Clearly, this is a low point in the U.S.-Israel relationship, and I cannot imagine that such a thing would have occurred under my watch, nor anyone else's watch.
What were they thinking?
Well, you know, the U.S.-Israel relationship clearly is deep and wide and broad, and it's been unique and special over the years. And I think that this current situation that we're witnessing is a rarity. You know, there were differences between presidents and prime ministers over the years, and they knew how to bridge them or at least cordially agree to disagree. This time around, it seems to me that there's a real disconnect between the leaderships, and the feeling is in Jerusalem that the Obama administration is on the verge of going to cooking up a bad deal, and apparently Netanyahu sees this. He views this as an existential threat to Israel. He's willing to do all it takes to prevent such a threat. On the other hand,
Can I jump in on that note? Because there is a very serious disagreement on Iran policy. That goes without saying, and the Prime Minister is going to underline it. But that aside, there seems to be a disagreement just about tactics and the formalities of how allies behave. First, there was this idea that John Boehner, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, a Republican, could invite the Prime Minister and nobody would tell the President, a Democrat. Now, equally awkwardly, there's the statement from the Prime Minister saying, I respect President Obama, which only draws more attention to the fact that he needs to announce this. It seems almost like, quite apart from the difference of policy, they're tone deaf in Jerusalem.
You know, there's, over the years, there was a set of unwritten rules and principles that guided this relationship. One of them was bipartisanship, and making sure that Israel does not become, or Israel does not turn itself into political football between Republicans and Democrats. Clearly, this line has been crossed this time, unfortunately. And right now, everybody's playing damage control on the Israeli side, at least. That's what it looks like, with Netanyahu going in the Western Wall and talking about his respect from for the president. But you cannot escape, and I was trying to say before, the notion that this has a lot to do with the upcoming Israeli elections. And this has a lot of political considerations that are playing in Netanyahu's considerations to make this speech on the U.S. Congress stage at this particular time, 2 weeks ahead of the elections.
What's the impact likely to be, do you think? Because I think there's a sense in Israel, among his supporters, that clearly he's a man who knows how to get the job done, and even among his opponents, that he's a man who gets the job done. Is this a smart move by Benjamin Netanyahu, and will voters see it as a smart move?
Jonathan, you hit the million-dollar question, whether voters will see this as a smart move. Because right now, the elections is a neck-to-neck race between Netanyahu and the opposition leader Herzog. And clearly, I think the people around Netanyahu see this as an option to, as possibly a speech in Congress, becoming a tiebreaker in this really heated and very close race. But, you know, really, also, what Netanyahu has working for him on the Israeli side is the fact that Israelis are not very favorable when it comes to the Obama administration, most Israelis. Second, the Iran nuclear issue enjoys a consensus in Israel as a serious threat.
Well, that's
so
exactly
if he manages to carry make this the central issue in the 2 weeks leading to the elections, he may win thanks to this.
Apart from the tactical tussle here, very serious issues at stake. Dan Arbel, thanks very much.